Hey gang, how's it going? It's Rob with Japanime Games. I'm going to be teaching you guys today how to play Dragon Pets, a game about going into the forest, capturing some dragons, and breeding them to create the best dragons and make the most money. Winner of the game is the player with the most coins at the end. We're going to dive right in. I'll see you down at the bottom. Boom. Alright guys, we have Dragon Pets right here. It is a game, fun for the whole family. I really recommend watching this with your kids if you're going to learn how to play and play together. Basically, the way that it works is we are going to go into the forest, capture dragons, and breed them to make even more powerful dragons. So, let's begin. As you can see right here, I have taken all the components of the game and I have sorted them out. We have 4 dice, 1 purple, 1 orange, 1 bone, 1 gray, a white die with numbers on it, the rest have pips, 10 gold coins, 5 gold coins, and 1 gold coins. Okay? In addition, I have tokens, orange, purple, gray, and bone. Egg cards, which I've separated. Brown backed cards, which are my starter cards. And dragon cards. These have the bone back. In addition, I have 4 character cards. Basically, these represent my player, and for the numbers of players you have, you're going to want to pull one aside. So this one is mine. I'm going to show that up on the screen real quick. And I'm going to take my Dragon Seekers with it. They're little meeples. Alright. First thing that we have to do is we have to deal starting dragons to players. So I'm going to deal myself out 2 starting dragons from the pile that has the brown reddish back. I'm going to deal 1, 2. I got 2 green dragons, 1 male and 1 female. You see their cost down at the bottom, as well as their sex up here. So, they're up on the screen. Check them out. They're pretty cool. There's a problem, though. I cannot begin the game with 2 dragons of the same color. So when this happens, I take one of them, my choice, put it on the bottom of the deck of starter cards, and deal myself a new one. Now I have 1 fire and 1 forest. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I'm going to add them to my menagerie of unbred dragons. All other players would do the same. Then, players would be given 8 coins. So I'm going to take 3 1s and 1 5. Put them in my bank. Taking them from the Dragon Union Bank. Okay, all other players would do the same. And then I would deal out a 4x4 forest. Depending on the number of players, I would shuffle in eggs. For the purposes of this video, I have a specific set of cards that are going to be shuffled, so we're not going to worry about that. But in the rulebook, it dictates how many eggs go in based on the amount of players. So I'm going to deal out my forest. Make sure to shuffle, by the way. I shuffled before the video. It's 4x4. That means 4 across and 4 long. So 4x4. And then you just fill it in. And that's how you create a 4x4 grid. It's a little square. Okay, so that's the 4x4 grid. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Then I'm going to take these tokens and I'm going to deal them out. But the first question we have to ask is, how many players are we playing with? I'm going to take you through the steps for each number of players. Let's say it's just 2 players. Take 1 of each token, lay them out randomly. Okay. Then take 1 more set of each token, lay them out randomly as well. So that's my setup for 2 players. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Next, my setup for 3 players. So I laid them all out randomly, but there's a problem, guys. These colors may not match. So we're going to have to move them around. So I'm going to move this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. Now they don't match anymore. And that's really good, guys, because they cannot match for the purposes of the game. Randomize it until they don't match. Then I'm going to take the last set. Boom. They still do not match. None of these match. And it's perfect, because that's exactly the way we need to play. Then you randomly decide who goes first. You can do whatever means you wish. Maybe have a roll off, see who gets the high roll or the low roll. But just figure out who goes first. We're going to say, I'm going to go first. I then take the 4 dice that have pips and colors and roll them. And then assign them gray to gray, orange to orange, purple to purple, and bone to bone. Okay. Now we are ready to begin the game, assuming all other players have gotten their things. On your turn, you can do 4 things. 3 of them are optional, 1 is allowed. The important thing to remember is the order in which you do them is important. Luckily, we have this card. You can see it up there on the screen. This is our available actions card. It does nothing in the game except for remind you what you need to do in the game. So, if we refer to it, we can capture creatures with our Dragon Seekers, although we have no Dragon Seekers out yet. We can refill the grid as the forest gets depleted because of our excellent seeking ability. We will need to refill the grid. And re-roll the dice. Re-roll these dice right here. And it'll become apparent really quickly why you'd want to do that. Then finally, place a Seeker. Placing a Seeker is the only action that is required in your turn. If for some reason you are unable to play a Seeker, then you must pay 5 coins to the Dragon Union. You see that down there. And speaking of playing coins, you might have noticed that placing a Hunter is free, while the rest have a single coin on it. That's important because the rest of the actions cost something. And since the way we win the game is by having the most coins, it's always an interesting trade-off. So, let's begin with our first turn, guys. Do we want to capture creatures? Well, I have no Seekers yet on the map, so probably not. Do I want to refill the grid? It wouldn't do anything right now. There's no cards on the grid. Do I want to re-roll the dice? Maybe, but since the grid's full, I should be able to make something work with these dice. So, probably the only thing I want to do on my first turn, or the only thing anyone really wants to do on their first turn, is place a Seeker. So I take one of my 3 little meeples here, and I place it down somewhere in the forest. How do I decide where I place? Well, I look at the dice. So a 4 here means I count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could get this dragon right here, because it's 4 away from my column. If I look at the gray one, I could capture this one, put a little Dragon Seeker here. I could count 2 from here, 1, 2, capture that one, or 2 from here, 1, 2. Those are my choices. Those are my options. Now, a way that I can spice it up, if I would like, is when the white die with numbers is available, so when it's unused, I may roll it to modify these. Now, since I already have a dragon right here that I could pair with, say, this male dragon right here, maybe what I want to do is try to roll the dice to modify one of these to see if I could get something that could work for me. So I'm going to roll the die. I rolled a 2. And what this essentially allows me to do is it allows me to modify any of these rolls by 2. So I'm going to choose to modify the bone column, reducing it by 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2, so 1, 2. And I get to put a Dragon Seeker onto a dragon that could be really useful for me later on down the road. So I place my Dragon Seeker, my turn ends, this die goes back into the bank because it's been used in this rotation, and it would go to my opponent's turn. I would move the bone stuff over to here, keeping the same rolls but switching the colors that they're on, and the player here would then play, placing something. So, for example, they could place theirs on 1, 2, bam, right there. Player then here would go, we'd move the dice, keeping the same die roll, guys, it's important to do that. And this player could then place something, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, right down there. And then, finally, the last player's turn, they would move everything over, and they would get to place their Seeker down like that. It would then come back around to me, and I could begin my second turn. Very exciting stuff. So I say to myself, look, I've got a Dragon Seeker right here. So I'm going to capture the creatures. I'm going to pay 1. Alright. And then all players receive the creatures that have 1 of their hunter on the card. So I would receive this. Red would receive this. Yellow would receive this. And green would receive this. Something interesting's happened. Take a look at these 2 dragons. They are of 2 different sexes, and thus I can breed them. When they come into my hand, I must immediately do so. If I have more than 1 combination of dragons that can possibly breed, it is my decision of how they breed. So, they breed, and I select the dragon with the highest cost, because you go with the dragon with the highest cost, and I gain that amount of coins. Gain the coins, and I would then place another hunter, and the game would go on. How does the game end? When this pile of cards, due to refilling, is empty, the game immediately ends. You may not do anything else after that point. So even if you're in the middle of a great turn, that's it. That's everything that happens for you. And so, how do you count up victory points and everything like that? I'm going to tell you. I'm referring to the rule book here real quick. Basically, the way it works is this. The game ends immediately. All players take any dragon cards that they had Seekers on without paying the requisite cost, so you do not need to pay the capture the creature cost. Then you have to take into account your penalties. If you have any unbred dragons, no dragons that bred, any dragons that bred, you must pay penalty equal to the value of those cards, so pretty steep. Then you have a diversity bonus. If you have 1 of each of the dragons, seen up there on the screen, you gain a bonus amount of coins. So really, really good to get that bonus amount of coins. You get 5. So having the breeding pairs for each of the types of dragons, really good, guys. Gets you that bonus points. And don't forget the egg, which I did not include in this game just because I wanted to just show these parts right here. Counts as wild for those purposes. And then you count up your coins, and the player with the most coins wins the game. Simple as that. It's Dragon Pets. It's a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help. And yeah, I'll see you for the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your questions in the comments below, or comments, you know. And I look forward to seeing you for the next one, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.